Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. It could be afternoon wherever you are, but anyway, welcome to Biz Chicks TV. This is the place to be for tips, tools, strategies, and everything that you need to build a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. Today is Wednesday, and that means it's all about our money and our mind and all about bringing in some profits and how we can do that daily. And Coach Caren, all the way from Toronto, Canada, is here to help us do just that. So, welcome everyone watching live and on the replay. And without further ado, here's Coach Caren.
Hi, ladies and gents. Thank you. Appreciate you showing up for us daily. All right. So, June, we spoke on finding your purpose, your passion, and July, all of July, we talked about living in that passion and in that purpose. You find your passion, you got to live into your purpose. You really got to spend some time there, really understanding and differentiating both of them so that you can do a good job in each spot. And so all August, we're going to be talking about profit margins because you see, once you understand what your passion is and you're living in your purpose, you can really focus your attention on that. You're not back and forth. Is this I'm supposed to do? Am I doing it right? And you're not spending time over there because you went in there and figured this stuff out. And it takes time. Everybody want to be hurried up, but truly, it's a long game you got to play. If you're starting a business, give yourself a year. That doesn't mean you're not going to make money in the year, but that year is going to teach you about you. You're going to grow you, and you're going to grow to understand how you work. You can't work like anybody else. I say this over and over when I teach marketing and sales. I teach you how to sell from your standpoint, how to market to suit you. Because if you feel hurried up and you feel like you got to do it to suit everybody, you're not going to sell anything. You're going to frustrate yourself. That's truly why you have to find your passion and your purpose so you can really sell from your strengths, not from the place where you're feeling the weakest.
I like that. Sell from your strengths, your strengths,
yes,
your unique strengths,
yes,
and not, there's a lot of times people, when they have a product or a service that they're offering, and whoever was above them or whoever their sales manager is, they give them this, okay, here's the script, and you got to do it like this. And a lot of times that does not work.
Does not work. Years ago, I had he was a mentor to me, and he said, Caren, just get a sales job. And and I said, I don't want. He said, get a sales job. And I went to get a sales job, and the one that I applied to was knives I was going to sell. And I didn't end up doing it. But I went to the information session, all three. And here's why. The first, I didn't want to go back, but he said, go to all three, even if you don't take the sales position. And the guy that talked a lot on the first day was a waste. It felt like. The second day guy, it was not too bad. But the guy who closed it out, to me, he was the guy. Because he allowed people to come up and talk about themselves. He talked nothing about sales. And he said, now find that thing and sell that thing. Knives is the complement. It's complementing that. That's all it is, And so for the people he asked me, I said, I'm not going to sell knives. He says, I knew it from the time I walked in. But the other two guys were just concerned about showing us how to sell knives.
Right.
Before that happened, my son had a friend who came and tried to sell me knives. Sorry, when I went, and I recognized what it was. And the reason that kid sell lots of knives is because that's what he did. He came, he says, Mom, how you doing? He would talk to me, he's paw around, I want to tell you a little bit about some knives I'm selling. I know you know about knives, but just hear me out. And he would get into talking about the knives. He worked at restaurants. He saw how the knives were dull. And I didn't need knives because I had some professional ones. But I'm going to tell you, I would buy his knives had I not had my own knives because that's how good he was.
That's the... there was someone that I bought knives, for my clients as gifts. And the presentation was, this is a unique gift. It's something that, because you can have your name engraved on them or what have you. And he wasn't selling knives. He was selling your experience the experience your clients were going to have when they purchased this home from you, and now they have this great gift. It's something that lasts, and it was a good knife too. It wasn't some cheap
Right.
something. And so I bought enough for the year,
Right.
so I could have
Your knives. Yeah.
something to give my clients.
Mm-hmm.
The knives weren't cheap either.
I know those knives are expensive. They're not cheap.
But he really did.
Yes.
He didn't sell. You need to get these knives, and like open the coat jacket, and you can get this color. No, he talked about how it was going to help you be remembered by your clients.
Mm-hmm. And that's really the key. So when you're doing that, can you imagine what happened to your profit margins? Because now you're not coming from a place of desperation. You're not coming from a place of, I don't have anything, I am broke. And you could be broke. And this is the thing you have to understand. You're not lying that you're not broke. It's just you need to know that you're broke. You don't need to tell anybody else. One of the biggest things, before I even get into that, I really want to say, when you're broke, and we've all been there at some point in our lives, when you're broke, it's not a discussion that you need to keep having with people because you're expanding your brokenness. You put expansion on your brokenness the minute you tell somebody else. I don't care who it is. And then somebody else, and then somebody else. And here's why. They have expanded themselves. So when you say to your kids, look, I'm broke, I got no money, then they tell everybody they meet, look, my mom is broke and she got no money. And then somebody else said, oh, that kid over there, her mom is broken and got no money. And so it's expanding itself to so many people that you're broken and got no money. So this is your stuff that's happening to you. Do not tell anybody. Just you and God. This is it.
So maybe you want to tell the story that you want, not the story that you might see.
Exactly. I call it the front view. That's been my thing now for like 2 years. I'm like, don't look at the front view. The front view just lies to you. The front view lies to you. It's like when you accomplish something, you're happy, you must be happy in that time. But if you spend too much time in that, you can't carry on. That causes procrastination. That makes you don't do anything more. It's like when you set a goal and you get into the end of the goal, write a new goal. Do not wait to finish the goal. Write a new goal.
Right.
Get it set up.
That is so very true, because you are not going to advance past your last success.
Mm-hmm. You just will not. You're right.
And, a lot of people's like, oh, well, I accomplished that. Now they're sitting on the beach, but okay, the next wave of money ain't coming in because you're sitting on the beach.
Yes. You're not doing anything. That's what I talk about in my principles, where I say, do not look what's in your purse right now. Look at what your future self is bringing in. People who have money has always been looking at what else is bringing it. They're not greedy. That's why they're doing it. They understand how things work. They understand what happened with stuff. And so I have some questions here where I talk about where are some of your, profit margin examples. So let me first say this. Profit margins are the measurement of your business profitability. That's what it is. Your profit margins are the measurement of your business profitability. You got to know that your business is profitable. I don't care if it's $1. You need to know this. If it's not profitable, questions. Am I running the business well for it to become profitable? Or don't I know what I don't know? And do I need to go find out? Or is this something that is not of me to do? That's why we look for a passion or purpose, so that when we get into it, we know that we can make it happen. People can sell rocks, tree trunk, and make a living. Let me just tell you, I know people who sell rocks and made money. I know who sell tree trunks and make money. Yes, he had to carve the tree trunk, but his base was a tree trunk. The trunk got cut down, and he carved things out of it, and he sold it. He says, Caren, I knew since I was about 10 or 11 that I was a carver. And when I explained that to my mom, she says, no, you're not a carver. You need to go to university. So he went to university, and he took the arts, and he got kicked out of university for political stuff. And he said, when he got kicked out, one of his professors said to him, so Rod, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm an artist, really and truly. I'm a carver, to be honest. Like to really tell you what I am, I'm a carver, but nobody believes I am. And so the professor said, do you believe? He says, well, I've been carving sticks since I was I don't know how old, so I do know I am. And whatever little tools he had, he started carving. And he his carving was literally from tree trunks. That's where he carved. A tree fall, he carves. He don't cut down trees. And so he was always in the lineup of anybody's gonna bring down a tree, they know that they dropped the tree trunks by rod. And he carved his heart content. That man made a ample living out of carving trees because he was living in his purpose and passion.
That is so key, what you just said, living in your purpose and passion. If you don't, you won't profit if you're not living in your purpose and passion, because you will quit because it wasn't yours.
Yes.
But if it's your purpose and passion, you're going to go the long haul, and you're going to stick with it through the ups and the downs while you're trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
You'll stay with it because it's your purpose and passion.
Exactly. And it's easier to give away your purpose and passion. It's really easier because you know you can do more of it.
Right.
You're not holding on so tight thinking that you can't. It really frees you up from that feeling of you can. Anytime I see people is really hanging on to, I've been trying to make these bags, but they're not selling. I'm like, are you supposed to sell bags? Or are you selling bags because you see 10 other people making bags and you can make bags? Like I can make bags. Like I can make hats. Like I can make clothes. But when I was in a season of nightwear, I accept that was the season for me because it fitted what I was doing. And when I was out of that season, I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy to let go, but I knew the season was over. So I had to let it be. If I got back into design at any point in time, it would be whatever that season needs to be. It can't be what happened already. That's not.
Now, see, you just hit another key. What season are you in? Is this the season to be doing whatever it is that whoever's watching? Is it the season to be doing what you're doing or listening? Is it that season? And sometimes, okay, fruit is produced in a particular season. You're not getting apples when it's orange and citrus fruit season. It's not happening.
Not happening.
We keep trying to morph and try and make stuff fit. Let me put that shoe on and let me see if I can. It's not the season for that.
Not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You just have to wait it out. I remember when I was listening to this guy, he was talking about taking a full year to buy his first property. And he had looked at 100 property by then. And he said, even he was upset with himself. He's like, good God, buy a property already. Like, how much more you have to see? But he was in his head knowing that he didn't hit the right one yet. And he just couldn't because he knew in his gut that he had to wait. And he said he was at his 110th property. And he put in a bid. And the realtor at the time said to him, of all the houses you look at, this is the house you want to buy? And he says, this is the house I need to buy.
Right.
And he said he bought the house, and the house was, I think, $68,000 he paid for the house. And years ago, he bought the house, but the area he bought the house in made so much sense. But the house had so much problems. And he ended up paying $48,000 for the house. And he said he bought the house, he put down whatever, and he was fighting with himself because he says he know in himself that this was the house for him. And he couldn't explain to anybody else why this was the house he needed to buy. And he bought the house. He got the house repaired to a certain degree. He started back with his confusion in his head. He finished it up. He said, I sat down because I resold the house for $210,000. He said, I sat back myself and I recognized, and he said, I'm going to tell you, it took me 6 months because I went back to look at all the things I did to get myself here. I put everything down, I wrote it down, and I told the realtor, I said, now I am ready to buy 2 houses a year because I know what I want. I know what I need. I know where I have to go. And if you want to rush me, I'm going to get a new realtor. But if you want to stick with me, I'm going to buy a lot of homes from you. And you're going to sell a lot of my homes because I'm going to be flipping them and some is going to be rental. But if you stick with me, I'm going to buy a lot of homes and I'm going to sell a lot of homes through you. And we're going to make money together. He said, she looked at him and she says, you know what? We've been a year together. It's fine. And he said, he and the realtor end up working for over 12 years because of how, she was able to wait and be patient. And she also learned a lot of things from him, and he learned a lot of things from her, because he said this was new territory. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I know I should do, because he was really interested in houses. He wasn't only cared about buying and flipping, but he cared about housing, the plumbing. He wanted to know how things work, when it was built. He cared about features. He cared about a lot of more things that a lot of people who did homes like him said, that's not important. Just patch it up and sell it back. Like, what's the big deal? Like, you're wasting time. And he says he's never bought a house and waste any time. If he didn't learn something from it, he'd sold it to a good family, he'd help somebody grow. But he himself has learned so much from properties. And so that's because he was working in his purpose. That's because he was doing what he was supposed to do with whatever experience he had from other things. So I'm saying all this to say, this is how you see your profit margins. There's no get rich quick scheme. Okay, will nobody tell you? It's the long game.
Yeah. And if people were more honest and would tell you that building a business is a long game, maybe a lot more people would be very much more successful.
I think so.
And they would be a lot less frustrated.
Yes.
Because I can see, there's a lot of people where it's the hurry up and you can get 100,000 followers today. Well, the 100,000 followers don't know you. They're not buying anything from you. So
exactly.
That's not a thing. It'll make you feel good that you got 100,000 followers, but they're not engaging with you. They're not doing business with you.
Nope.
And it takes time to build relationships, and the relationships are the things that's going to improve your profit margin.
Yes.
The relationship with the customers, the people, the new people that come on, you're talking to them about them, you're getting to know them, and maybe they don't do business with you today. I still do the Walmart analogy. Walmart is open 24/7. But I'm not going in there every day.
Exactly.
I will go in when I need something, and I'm knowing that they are available when I need something.
Mm-hmm. That's what's the long game. You can't just start a business. Well, you could, but it makes no sense to start it today, drop it tomorrow, and do something else. When I hear people walk around saying, I don't like coaches don't do any good for me, I'm often thinking, or I'm getting out of the coaching industry. You probably was never a coach to begin with, or you just happened because you thought it was going to give you a bunch of money.
Yeah, it's a bunch of work.
It's a bunch of work.
You have to follow up with people, and if you don't like talking to people or making sure they get what you promised that they were gonna get, and hey, how are you doing? That's all in the game. You cannot start the thing and it's like, oh, I'm done, kind of like Blab did with the rest of us. But you can't just you can't walk away from it.
No, you're in it. You're in there. You're doing the work. Your client is doing the work. You're doing the work. Sometimes you take breaks. You come back. But there's work in there, because this is the other part of the work that I think a lot of time people don't recognize. There's the work when you're not doing any work. There's a work that happens when you're not doing any work. And you have to allow that work to happen when you're not doing work, because it is work. It's inner workings. It's God working on you. It's you working on you. It's you recognizing where you need to hop over to, because maybe you went off and you did something else because life has happened and you weren't able to do this thing. I was telling somebody once, I said, it's not like you couldn't buy. She wanted to buy a computer. It's not like you couldn't buy the computer. But for the longest while, you have not allowed yourself to know that you can buy a computer. So because you haven't allowed you to think you can buy a computer, now it's this impossible task in buying a computer. If somebody would give you a computer, you'll be okay. If you can get a secondhand computer, you'll be okay. But if you had to buy a computer because you have been told yourself, I can't afford a computer. Now, every time I send you to price a computer, see how long it's going to take you to save for the computer, you're fighting me on the idea because you yourself has decided that you can buy a computer.
Right.
So it's not like you can't buy a computer, or it's not like because your business wasn't profitable. This was not a client of mine. Like, when we sat down with her numbers and she recognized that she had made $9,000 that month, and she said to me, "So where did all the money go?" Well, you didn't do the things I wanted to do. You wouldn't document it. You wouldn't. You find a reason. I always say people find reason to get rid of the money when they don't want to, when it's hard for them in their heads. So she made $9,000, but then she spent it back and she lent out some and she gave away some. And she couldn't account for it. It didn't matter what we do, she couldn't account for it. So then she get upset and frustrated. But if she was keeping the books, and then not necessarily bookkeeping, just keeping the books, this is how much I spent on product, and because she's a product-based business, and this is how much people have paid me, and this is the money that's outside. Now, we were developing this business, which means she needed to have material accounted for, labor costs, and then the profit in the business. And this was hard for her brain to wrap around because she wanted to just sell. And she's like, why would I pay myself labor? Because the goal was for this business to eventually hire out. If you don't start looking at labor costs, when you do hire somebody, you wouldn't have any money to pay them. So like, right, this is labor costs. And she says, well, I don't want to do that because then I want to put back the money straight into business. I'm like, you listen to people who say, take all your money and dump it back in your business.
But that's no plan. You don't have a strategic plan. And yes, you're going to put it back in your business. Hiring someone else is putting it back.
Thank you.
In the business. So people not understanding how to manage. See, that's another side of the business. Yes, you can make money, but if you don't manage that well, excuse me, or have a plan in place for the monies, and I'm talking about you need to get it before you bring the money in.
Yes,
I'm just an example. You need to get the plan together before the money makes it to your bank account or makes something, before somebody writes a check. Where are the funds going, and what are they going for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you have it in your mind that, oh, I've got extra money. No, you don't.
And it walks right away from out of your hand. It just walks away from you. And you're arguing with yourself about it. I know it was mostly frustration. It wasn't with me. I know it was within her. She just frustrated that I'm saying to my coach, I have no money, but here I am. I do have money, but I can't physically touch this money because I'm just letting it go out of my hand. And it's just because it's not just because, but it's one of the biggest reasons, because in her mind, she has not felt the worth of the money, even though she'll say to me, $10,000 a month, I know I can do it. But in the same breath, she'll come out, but it's hard to make $10,000 a month. But you've been so close to making $10,000 a month. You were $1,000 away. Do you understand what has happened? Documenting it is confirming to you that this goal could be met. Documenting it is a place for you to go back when your mind is arguing with you about this and say, hey, I've done this before, I can do it again. Not Caren can do it, not Fern can do it. I have done it. So I can go back and do it again. And sometimes we're scared to document things. And so if it's not a habit of yours, it's just hard. I realize why it's not hard for me, because I've always been a documenter. I didn't know why. And I didn't realize I was a documenter, but I would just document things because I always want to know what I've done before, because I'm talking to myself. In those days, I'm talking to myself. So to be able to go back and say, I did say that, it was at the back of my notebook. So I just have a bad habit of writing at the back of my notebook. It's Bible, planner, every book got some little scribbles.
So would you say that the documentation is something that'll bring you to profitability? Will it improve your profit margins?
It will.
Okay.
It will improve it. Fran, my stories from the orange days. And even in the orange days, the reason I knew I made 55 cents is because once I got inside, I wrote in my book, I said, so if I sell 12 eggs of oranges, I'm going to make 60 cents. And then when I got to the market and I realized they sell 5 in a parcel for 25 cents. That means they're selling one orange for 5 cents in those days. And I start counting it up. So it was a lot of math that was happening in the back of the notebook. But the math is what told me how profitable I was. Even when I put time in there, the math was speaking to me. And again, that's why I talk about knowing your numbers. So you have to know that if you made a bag, and when you add up the material, your timeline, and it costs you, let's say about $30 to make the bag, you got to be able to sell the bag for $65. It's not like nobody won't buy the bag for $65. But if you don't believe that somebody would pay $65 for the bag, then you can't sell it for $65. If you have told yourself that I can only call $25 for the bag, that's all people will pay. I don't care what the market tells you. The market research is important, don't get me wrong. But if you in your mind and your gut can't believe that you can do that, you can do it. I was a maid of honor for a friend of mine wedding, and to put in a zipper in my dress was $65. And this is since in the 90s, $65. Yet the woman put in a green zip in a brown dress. Because I can sew, I said to her, if you don't put in a brown zip, I'm not paying you a penny. She said to me, I will change the zip color, but it's going to cost you $25 more. I said, okay. You're going to take the whole dress back. I'm not going to even pay for the dress. And that'll be the end of the story. You see how quickly she changed. But if you can be, so I'm showing you how I'm standing up for myself there. I'm saying to her, I paid you $65 to put in a zipper. I know it's not worth it, but I don't have the time to go put in a zipper. I'm in a wedding party, so I'm paying it to you. It's okay. But she is watching me and says $65. You know, bridal people pay a lot of money for things that doesn't cost all that money. That zipper was about $25 worth of work, but she double, triple it or whatever, and I paid it. And then she would still make more money off of me. So even though the market might say one thing, if you can't call the price because you in your being believe that it is so, you still can't make the money. Every time a coach say I charge $25,000 or $30,000, I know initially my heart used to just gallop because I wasn't in that bracket money yet. So I would say, what are you teaching? But it wasn't about what she was teaching or coaching on, or he or she. It's what they have decided that not worth or value, because that's what people like to say, but they've believed that what their experience have taught them and what they're bringing to the table is worth that to them. But to the person, if the person apply it, they will make 3 times that money. No question. If the person applies it, the coach don't responsible for if you apply it, but that's what a coach will tell you, because I've had several coaches. If you take what I gave you to do and you apply it strategically as I've taught you, according to you, though, I think this is the part sometimes they leave out, according to you as an individual, you will see profit in your business. That's why I say we work and we work on ourselves while we feel we are now working. And that intangibility that people want to leave out is sneaking away at your profits. It's taking away your profit. Because when you're able to be in yourself, you can draw, you can leave with a crown on your head, a stupid color hair, a silly dress, and you don't care when nobody think about you when you walk out the door. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. I know nobody want to do, but it's one of those exercises that really and truly, it's going to feel scared. You're going to feel really terrible. But if you can do something like that, and I'm just making that up, but you can do anything. It's getting you out of your comfort zone.
And it's actually boosting some confidence too,
Yes.
of you being you and owning what you do and
Yes.
being okay with it.
Yes. You have to be okay with it. I don't care if you're selling a pin. I know people who sell, I literally met a lady that sell cockroaches. That's something nobody likes. She sells cockroaches and she's a millionaire from selling cockroaches because snakes like cockroaches and other reptiles like cockroaches. So while my whole skin is raising here, I was in a network meeting. I was like, oh!
He was like, ching, ching.
Yes.
Ching.
Yes. She was like, yeah, everybody's telling us what we did, but it was just having a 5-minute moment. And she's like, oh, I raised cockroaches. The room went silent.
Did she say? Did she raise this cockroach?
And you live on the premises? Like everybody was now wanting to know what she do, how she did it, how she... And if you listen and you're wondering, yes, she's licensed. She could raise them. This is not no on the ground stuff. This is this is a legit registered, pay her taxes business.
This and there's other business like that. I know down the road from us, the dairy farmers sell the cow dung, the cow boo-boo.
But yeah, manure.
It is like major business, and they don't care. Put on the long boots and they are out there. So you can sell whatever the people are buying.
Yes, and make a profit in it. This month we're going to be talking a lot about profit margins and where they come in. 5%, is that good enough for you? Are you making a profit on every dollar in your business? That's important stuff. You need to know these. It feels like tiny things, but you really need to know them, because that's the only way you can see the bigger stuff. I just want you to know. That's the way you see the bigger stuff. You really need to see this tiny stuff to get into the bigger stuff. That's what I really want to say.
So people can reach out to you and schedule an appointment with you to have a consult to find out how to increase their profit margins. I know you are working on a Money Mindset Academy.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna put
also they can also thank you. You put that in the chat, and I am going to copy this link. And I got something for you too after we're here. And I'm going to put this in the comments. You can book an appointment with Coach Caren, because see, she will help walk you through some things that and help you understand some things, because the psychology, a lot of people are not making the money that they could make because they're, as Tony Robbins calls it, limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And some other stuff. Other people have talked about it. And although a lot of people talk about it, if you don't do something about it, you're going to be stuck.
Right there, all the time. You gotta get up and you gotta do action. Gotta take action. We gotta take action.
Right. So we want to thank you so much for tuning in today for Profits in Daily. We're talking about profit margin and how you can get to it. What I heard today is that I need to be working in my passion and my purpose for my profit. In order for me to see my profit margin, I need to be doing something I feel passionate about. And then also getting the help that I need to move my profit margin forward. I might need to have an appointment with Coach Caren, just because sometimes you need somebody with a fresh perspective to help you see that you are making $10,000 a month. You just didn't see how you were making. So book an appointment with Coach Caren. The link is in the chat. Become a part of BizChicks. You can reach us at bizchicks.net. Or you can join by texting BIZ to 33777. There is no cost for you to join this community, and we will bring you subject matter experts to help you build a profitable business that's fun to run. We don't want you stressed out. We want to help you take the hassle out of your hustle. So we invite you to do that. Coach Caren will be back next week with the next installment of profit margins. All the month of August, we're going to be talking profit margins. So stick with us and come back again. We want to thank you for taking the time to be here. You could have been somewhere else. We're here learning and growing and expanding your mind. So we will see you next time. And like Terralina, who's out on wedding duties, she would tell you it's okay for you to make money in your business and to go to the front of your own line. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.